Lego Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu, is no stranger to twist villains, or twists regarding villains for that matter. The writing team kicked off their twist villain streak with Crux in the 7th season of the show, The Hands of Time. Crux was immediately followed by Harumi in the 8th season, The Sons of Garmadon. There was then a long intermission, and the most recent twist villain reveal was the Skull Sorcerer of Season 13, Master of the Mountain. Crux, Harumi, and the Skull Sorcerer are the only 3 villains introduced as seemingly good characters, only to turn on the ninja and reveal their true colors. However, I am here to tell you that there is one more, another twist villain that is so good, no one has figured him out in the almost 9 years since his introduction to the show. He's the most powerful villain, and he has been right under our noses this entire time. Many people may remember the 2012 episode of Lego Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, Darkness Shall Rise. This was the 14th overall episode of the entire show, and it kicked off Season 2, The Legacy of the Green Ninja. This episode gains a lot of nostalgia points within my family, and is a personal favorite of mine. The serious tones over a silly plot perfectly captures what Ninjago used to be, a silly Lego kids show. However, this episode is not all fun and games. This episode introduced who I believe to be the strongest of all Ninjago villains, and a master at hiding in plain sight. The Legacy of the Green Ninja is a season that is very familiar with villains, as it hosts many of them. The season starts off with the Serpentine remaining a threat, given a smaller threat at that, but still a threat. The season then moves on to Lord Garmadon taking over as main villain. This lasts until he gets to the Dark Island, where the Overlord is introduced. Garmadon chooses a stone army as his ensemble, and they turn villains by following his every order and assisting in the procedures of the final battle. Misako is also introduced in the season, but she is too weak and empty-headed to be a true threat to Ninjago. Because Season 2 is so comfortable with giving the viewers new villains, it makes perfect sense for the biggest threat to be introduced in the premiere episode of the season. Canadian YouTuber Brent Miller is one of the main cast members of Lego Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu. He takes on the role of Zane, but also provides his voice to multiple side characters as the show progresses. However, he also voices the greatest villain. In Darkness Shall Rise, the ninja are all required to take up jobs in order to pay rent for their new apartment. Jay, Master of Lightning, takes on the difficult position of a Ninjago City pizza man. During the segment of the episode in which everyone's jobs are becoming increasingly difficult, Jay stumbles upon an area on the outskirts of Ninjago City that is empty and filled with an arid desert, notably not a good place for the average person to stroll. It is here that he comes face to face with the greatest villain, and he never even notices. As Jay is approaching the empty lot known as 21st and Union, he stumbles across a suspicious man, voiced by Brent Miller himself. Jay asks this man to confirm his location, saying, "Isn't this 21st and Union?" The suspicious man then utters a villainous line, "Sure is, but there hasn't been anything built here in ages." He then proceeds to walk away. Here is an image of said suspicious man. Look at it with caution, as it may curse you. This scene opens with a wide shot of 21st and Union, with the only things visible in the shot being Jay, the suspicious man, and the sewer. As Jay advances towards the sewer opening, he overhears the Serpentine generals thunderously proclaiming their evil plan to rob the bank. As he is spying on this plan, Acidicus, the Venomari tribe general, seemingly appears out of nowhere and kidnaps Jay at knife point. This is a turning point for the episode. Viewers may note that as the camera turns to Jay walking towards the sewers, there is another wide shot in which the suspicious man disappears from the background. The camera isn't heavily focused on the lot on which he was walking, but the corner of said lot is clearly visible, and the suspicious man would have definitely reached this point by that time, given the pace he was walking at. It is beyond odd for the suspicious man to have disappeared from the background, only to have Acidicus pop up out of nowhere moments later. This camera work, combined with the suspicious man's disappearance, is no coincidence, but something far more sinister. Something so evil and so dark, they could not show it happening on screen. The suspicious man shapeshifted to take the form of Acidicus. Now, this may sound ridiculous, but it is the only possible solution for how Acidicus appeared behind Jay. The suspicious man's disappearance is not a simple continuity error, but a clear example of him being the greatest villain. All evidence points towards him kidnapping Jay. We also never see him and Acidicus in the same shot, considering the real Acidicus was on the train at the time. This has to mean something. If you are a suspicious man apologist and would like to suggest that he did not shapeshift, then you still cannot deny another villainous thing that he would have done had he simply kept walking away. You see, at the pace the greatest villain was walking at, he would not have been too far away by the time Jay was kidnapped. There is a strong possibility that he would have even still been in earshot. If this were to be the case, then that means that this horrible man witnessed a kidnapping, at knife point, may I add, and did absolutely nothing to stop it. At timestamp 1327 of Darkness Shall Rise, the greatest villain can be spotted walking towards the bank. This is clearly him checking to see how the robbery went, as he was involved. He is also obviously not walking towards the police station to report a kidnapping. This is truly dubious. In the Season 3, rebooted episode, The Art of the Silent Fist, the suspicious man can be spotted maniacally slapping at a vending machine in an attempt to purloin some goods. What kind of good person robs innocent machines? What kind of laughable innocence does this portray? None. There is also a very possible chance that the greatest villain is a time traveler as well as a horrid criminal. In Season 4, Episode 6, Spellbound, we get a clear image of the greatest villain 40 years prior during the Serpentine Wars. At timestamp 1548 of this episode, viewers can observe the master manipulator that is the suspicious man manipulating a snake into dancing for him. He looks the exact same as he does in Darkness Shall Rise. But what does this mean? Shapeshifting and kidnapping someone at knife point? Time traveling? Manipulating a snake? Well, all evidence points to this man being an Oni. Think about it. Shapeshifting? Oni behavior. Time traveling? What if he didn't travel through time, but simply aged slower? Another Oni behavior. Manipulating a snake? Oni are evil. Of course he would manipulate an innocent animal. This is the true conclusion of this theory. In the credits of Darkness Shall Rise, the suspicious man is credited under the name Passerby. This is obviously a pseudonym to hide his fully evil Oni blood. The greatest villain follows the ninja everywhere, specifically to hurt Cole, Master of Earth. In the Season 10 episode, The Fall, a redesigned greatest villain can be observed watching Cole fall, doing absolutely nothing to save him. It takes someone truly evil to not interfere, and the suspicious man / greatest villain is the most evil of all. In the Season 2 episode, Ninja Ball Run, the suspicious man can be caught driving Cole's father's racing bus, only to purposefully crash it later in the episode in an attempt to injure the father of Cole and ruin Cole's life further. In Season 5's The Temple on Haunted Hill, the suspicious man is in villainous attendance of Patty Keyes' tour of Yang's haunted temple. Later in this episode, Cole stays behind on this very tour and becomes a ghost as a result. It is crystal clear that this man was just here to ensure that Cole went through trauma. We can see right through him. While the Great Devourer was attacking Ninjago City early in the show, the greatest villain is caught hogging all the space in an apartment elevator, killing Harumi's parents and destroying her life as a result. He knew this would be the beginning of her villain origin story, and he feeds off evil and pain, therefore only killing them for his own selfish interest. This is the most sick and twisted example. In the Season 1 finale, Day of the Great Devourer, the suspicious man can be spotted 16 different times in attendance of the racist, anti-serpentine Take Back Ninjago rally. He's obviously projecting himself into different places here in an attempt to conceal his future heinous plans to shapeshift into a Sidicus and kidnap Jay. Jay and Cole are also famously good friends, so of course he was also attempting to hurt Cole here as well. The suspicious man has utterly zero redeeming qualities. Though this is just a theory, it may as well be canon. There's no denying the wickedness and wrongdoing of this horrible man. It makes me sick to think that he is still out there in Ninjago, roaming free. I can almost 100% guarantee that he is the sinister Vengestone buyer, and he's only plotting something ungodly with these purchases. In the words of the twist villain Harumi, the greatest villain is the one you never knew was there, the one that got away.